Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Death Battle cast for week 2 of part 3 of Skeletober celebration. Skeletober celebration. Do we have it? Do we not have it?
Sam.
Oh, no.
Where's the Skeletober? Where's the celebration? There it is. Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah.
We almost couldn't actually celebrate the Skeletober. That would have been
the scariest thing to happen.
That would have been tragic.
I would have thrown up. I would have died, actually.
We would have had to end the show right here. It just would not have been able to continue.
That I didn't die.
Yeah. I guess I'm happy too, but you know.
Wow. Wow.
All right, today we have a very spooky skeletacular matchup to talk about. Yeah.
Nailed it.
It's not really skeleton-y anymore. That part has sort of been jettisoned.
No, which is why I'm injecting skele into every single word I'm going to say now.
It's the bones. It's the spirit of the season.
They both turn into skeletons to scare people. They've scared people as skeletons.
Here we go. Also, I brought the skeletons with me this time, so they're hanging out with me.
In spirit, they're still here.
I like the one raising the roof.
Skeletons.
Yeah, he's having a good time.
Raising the roof.
So today we are going to be talking about good old Freddy Krueger versus good old Pennywise, the clown, not clown monstrosity.
Not good.
As they're often introduced. Like,
yes.
Good old.
The great Hannibal Lecter.
Yes. So if you don't know, for some reason, I'm Ben. I'm joined by Chad, Liam, and Max is returning after doing such an incredible job in last week's cast where we talked about some franchises that I don't know if we've talked about on cast before at all. Danganronpa and the good old good old Freddy. The other Freddy.
The other Freddy. The one who's overtaken my Freddy as of late. When you think of Freddy's word now, I'm very upset by that.
Almost makes you wonder if we should do Freddy versus Freddy at some point.
No.
Yeah, so the way this will be working is Max, as you could probably tell if you're watching the video version of this Death Podcast, will be representing Freddy, and Liam, who is not wearing clown makeup, or maybe he is, and it's just kind of blending in.
No, we're not about to announce Silk Song anytime soon, so my clown makeup is off.
Oh no, is going to be repping Pennywise, and it's their job to tell us, Chad, myself, and you all watching this live right now, who should win in a death battle, and then you get to vote at the end of the argument. So also just shout out to everybody who's joining us live right now. We are switching our time slot for our live show to Tuesdays at noon p.m. Central Time. So thank you for everybody who was able to jump into this live show today. Seeing a bunch of champion tokens. Why am I blanking on what the word is? The badges in chat, which is great. As well as some newer ones, which is really cool. So thank you so much for joining us, guys. Yeah. All right. So let's just jump into this, guys. Let's just go, because I'm very curious to see how this is gonna. Let's get wacky. Let's get these skeleton shenanigans going.
Let's let our hair out.
Just say some puns. Have some fun.
All right. Yeah. I think we can start with Liam. I think you can explain to us Pennywise and why he's going to win, from your opinion.
Yeah. Well, fact.
You're gonna do that.
2 words. Outerversal clown. Debatably, outerversal spider is more accurate. Pennywise has haunted Derry, Maine. It's Maine because it's Stephen King. For generations. He hibernates 27 years and then returns to kill fucking kids and eat their fear. Because Pennywise is he looks like a clown, but that is merely the avatar of an actual outerversal god being that lives in what's called the macroverse, who likes Derry, Maine for some reason, and eating fear, and he is an incomprehensibly powerful being that simply manifests on a material plane as Pennywise the clown. And if you look into his deadlights, you're absolutely fucked. I think he's just way too much for Freddy to handle.
Okay, so jumping right to the big guns.
That's a form of it.
Everybody who's only seen the movie or the show probably wondering what the fuck you're talking about.
Surprise, surprise.
This book goes crazy.
Galactic Attorney, thanks for spreading the good cheer of Skeletober with some memberships.
Yeah.
All right, Max, you're here for Freddy, right?
I am here for Freddy. I've prepared, as I usually do, as I'm off known to do, 60 seconds
from the
ahead of time.
From the one other time.
I was on Beetlejuice Mask. Beetlejuice Mask I showed up animated, so it's happened twice now. And now animated for a third time. Let's see what animated Max has to say about Freddy's chances. So, you want to kill a cosmic space clown? Well,
let's cut to the chase. If you want to kill a clown, just ask your Uncle Freddy. Bozo over there sleeps for 27 years straight, so it ain't escaping my world. I'm a god here. Everything you see, I control. If I wanted, that clown would be a puny spider, and I'd be the rolled-up newspaper. Don't listen to the hype, kids. It talks a big game about being the eater of worlds, but it got scared by a bunch of prepubescent brats. Wait till it gets a load of me. All it takes is crushing that arachnid's heart, and it's dead lights out. I can't die. That's what they promised me. I am forever. Pennywise is not.
God.
Okay.
I'm dead.
Yeah.
He killed me.
Yeah, what are you doing here?
Oh, fuck. No.
Well, proof right out the gate that Freddy's not an effective killer.
You gotta be in the dream world, right?
I feel fine.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about what these guys are bringing to this in terms of like how their powers work and whatnot.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about monsters that can they're not easy to talk about in terms of what they're capable of. So I want to know what it can do, generally speaking. Let's not jump straight into the whole like intergalactic whatever the hell's about to happen. But like, how does he actually kill?
No, I only brought that up not as a way of like escalating the argument to the end, but just because that is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, like
the version of it that we see
in a fight.
What does he do? The version of it that we see is his avatar, his like avatar on the material plane. He can't manifest his full power on Earth. We'll get to that not quite being a handicap a little bit later. But he is essentially an amorphous being. He can shapeshift any way he wants. He can warp reality. His goal is to feed on the fear of people. Children's fear is a lot tastier because they have greater imagination. So what they can be scared by is a lot more potent than an adult who would be like, no, this is not that scary. Though Pennywise can also terrify adults, because those adults who were children who were terrified by Pennywise originally, they grow up and are then sort of cowed by him, and so cowed by him that they sort of ignore the mass deaths that happen every 27 years because they know who's doing it. It is doing it. Pennywise has reality warp. He can do basically anything. He can manipulate your mind. He has extremely strong psychic powers. He can read your mind to sense your deepest fears and then manipulate them, manipulate the environment or himself to feed on those fears. And it's very, very interesting what happens if you try to attack him psychically. He can regenerate his body any way he wants. He can turn his body into different things. He can do basically anything that he can think of. He can kill people with a touch. He can devour souls. He can cause like weather phenomena in Derry. His powers are like on Earth are like limited to Derry. I don't know if that's a hard or if it's just his modus operandi. but he sticks to Derry. So the fight would be in Derry or in Pennywise's dreams in Derry. And
Does
he has
he
the
dream?
deadlights.
He's just
Does he
unable to
dream?
go
Yes,
anywhere
he
else.
does. Yes, it
He
does.
does. It does dream.
I had an
Okay.
exact quotation of it where it said it wants to eat, sleep, dream, and eat again. So it dreams.
Okay, great.
I think that's great.
For
I think it's
27 years
actually
straight. It sleeps for
it's
27
very
years at a time.
it's very, very bad for Freddy that it can dream.
I think honestly, it's bad for Pennywise that he's stuck there.
Because that's Freddy's whole thing, right?
That's his domain.
Right. Yes, I know. It's his domain. I agree.
Well,
And he has the deadlights, which are the physical manifestation of his being. And they are like 3 lights. And if you stare into them, then the actual Pennywise, the full form of Pennywise, becomes a thing. Because
is this
if you
from the
look into
book
the deadlight
or something? Because
Yes.
I've only seen the movies, and I'm like,
yeah,
what?
the deadlights are in the book, or
People
deadlights are in
look
the movie.
into the deadlights in the movies. Yeah, you'll see
Oh,
whenever
okay.
they're like they got those white eyes and they're floating. That's when they're looking at the deadlight.
And the reason that attacking him
in the original film,
in the dream world is a bad thing is because if you attack Pennywise psychically, you are directly interacting with his full astral form. And he can take you into the macroverse just by attacking him psychically. That's not good for Freddy.
Right, I want to hear about Freddy a little bit, though.
Yeah, I'll talk about Freddy.
Also, Lily, crossover. Thank you, guys. Man, Thick Grimes. Oh, Freddy fought Ash, who was played by our true god, Bruce Campbell. So Freddy is outer. GG's, Liam.
Okay, so.
Thank you, Gelatin Man.
Everything you said about Pennywise, Freddy has even better. Freddy's reality warping powers are on a completely different level. In the dream world, it is explicitly stated anything he can imagine becomes real. Any power he wants, he can transmutate you into a meatball. He can become intangible to face through any attack. He can create time loops where you're stuck going, and just this time loop over and over. And he has powers that are like better than Pennywise because Pennywise is a lot more limited, especially when it comes to shapeshifting. It explicitly has to abide by the rule of all living things must abide by the shape they inhabit. And so it can be in a weaker form, and when it's weaker in a weaker form, it's much easier to kill. And the thing about regeneration you brought up, Pennywise has regenerated from like a pole to the head, but Freddy regenerates so much better. In the novels, there are Elm Street novels, which are very important to this because they really get into the weeds of how the dream world works. They explain it a lot more. So in these Elm Street novels, we see Freddy meet up with an anti-Freddy. They collide, and Freddy is completely disintegrated on a molecular level. He's exploded into antimatter, and he just comes back seconds later just fine, and he's perfectly all right. Meanwhile, Pennywise, its weakness is its heart. The heart of Pennywise can be ripped out and crushed, and that actually kills the deadlights in the macroverse because the physical form that it takes is linked to the avatar up in the macroverse. So if that form dies, it dies for good. So you just have to crush its heart, and that's literally it. That's just it. You can't come back from it. People are going to say that Pennywise did live again in further Stephen King novels, but all of that can be explained away by like, it had children. It had eggs before it died. So any further scenes of Pennywise is most likely one of the spawn because Ben was not sure he got them all.
Yeah,
gotcha. Anti-Freddy?
Anti-Freddy. And Anti-Freddy, those novels are wacky. Those are some wacky novels.
I love how sometimes Death Metal Cast turns into, you see these characters in movies. You're very familiar with that. Well, guess what? There were books, and everything that really matters are in the books.
The second books get involved, everything gets out of whack.
Man, everybody's gift and support today. Gilded Data, Gelatin Man, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Oh, and we want to wait quickly. Oh, Vamilator, dropping 10. Thank y'all.
Okay, so chat's also talking about Super Freddy. I don't know if Super Freddy is going to matter in this, but
of course it'll matter. He's a local madman.
How's Super Freddy going to matter?
Freddy.
It's just
Thank you, Thomas.
He just becomes stronger. It's just a dumb comic book moment in Elm Street 5, and it's awesome, and I love it.
I just want to say, Elm Street 5 was my favorite one.
Dream
and
Child's
that apparently
your
is
favorite?
not. 5 is my favorite. And apparently that is an unpopular opinion. People do
did we
not
just
like
get some
5.
judgment from Max?
No,
I loved 5.
I can respect liking Dream Child the best. I think it's got a lot of fun moments.
I think it's so dumb and great.
Yeah.
And 3 is number 2. I don't think any of them are. Yeah, 3 is understandable. I don't think any of them are scary past like 1, but it kind of shifts into like I'm not looking at it to be scared. I am looking at it to have the fun moments where Freddy
have fun.
turns into a
puns.
exactly. And he murders teenagers.
So help remind me here, because it's been a million years since I've seen these movies, and I know I haven't seen all of them. Like in the beginning, it was just like, oh, we just can't go to sleep, because if we go to sleep, like Freddy's gonna get us, right?
Yeah.
But then like later on, does it like
we get like the dream demons? Like, oh, we choose you, Freddy. You're gonna be our killer, and he's like, okay, and he becomes the dream demon. And then the novel's like, here's what the dream world is, and it's all this convoluted bullshit that I will get into.
But so does Freddy like have to like wait until it falls asleep, or Pennywise falls asleep, or
it would need to be dreaming, or I mean, depending if you want to give Freddy's a Necronomicon, he had it in Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash, where he used it to unleash all of his powers onto the real world, and he was able to do everything he did in the dream world in reality. So if you want to give him the Necronomicon, this fight could take place in reality. But either way, if it's a dream or reality, it's the same Freddy we're gonna get.
Gotcha.
I think that for what it's worth, I think the fight is ultimately the same, regardless of if it takes place in reality versus in the dream. I think that if it takes place in the dream, then Freddy is directly putting himself up against Pennywise's true astral form, and it's a more of a direct argument to getting to like outerversal God.
Let's talk about dreams as a concept in this then, because it is possible to use the dream against Freddy, right?
Yeah, you can imagine your own powers. You can become the Dream Master and stuff. But the problem is, anyone who's ever tried to use their dream powers against Freddy, he shuts that shit down real fast. This poor kid named Will, he gave himself wizard powers. He became the Wizard Master. But Freddy just decided, I don't believe in fairy tales, and killed him. Just killed him right there. So he's always got power over the dreamers. He's
not everyone. He always loses at the end. He does like always lose.
Like if the people in the real world are pouring holy water on his bones, or
as one does.
You do.
Freddy does usually require a team, essentially. Like I haven't seen every Nightmare on Elm Street movie, but like it usually requires multiple people like working in tandem, right? To like kind of take him down, whereas we're just talking about one guy, one clown, even if he is some demon from another dimension or whatever.
One scared little clown.
Jonathan Avery says Freddy turns into Superman.
Super Freddy. It's Super Freddy.
Yeah. I mean, for what it's worth, Pennywise also required a team of people to take him down. A team of people who very strongly hinted to be aided by like gods that are even more powerful and beyond Pennywise itself, like Gon.
Gon.
Yeah, Gon, whatever. Yeah. So I wouldn't use like that as something against Pennywise. I think that Pennywise is like more capable at reality warping and psychic manipulation than any of the like children of Elm Street who were sort of like improvising this that went up against Freddy.
Well, there's something those kids do against Pennywise that I don't think you can attribute to Gon, and that is their childish belief that things like an inhaler can shoot battery acid, or that a pebble can split Pennywise's head open. Pennywise is explicitly weakened by strong belief in yourself, and Freddy is so cocky, so imaginative, and very childish in his own ways that it's actually going to be perfectly tool to weaken Pennywise, because he'll believe in himself. He'll never believe for a second Pennywise can kill him, and that will severely weaken it to the point where like it's not going to be able to do any real blows against Freddy.
Would agree, if not for the fact that Pennywise can read people's minds and determine their fears. And we know that Freddy is not, he is very confident, but he also has moments in the movies where he is terrified. Fire is a big one. That whole thing in 4 or 5.
People always say this about fire being his big fear. It's like in Freddy versus Jason, they're like, "Oh, Freddy died by fire," and they act like that's his big fear, but it's just like, no, it's an explosion. He's like, "Oh shit, I'm gonna get blown up," and he's just
There you go.
He's a little worried of being attacked, but he's not scared, like crying like a baby over fire. It's not
There
gonna
was also
drive him to
all
fear.
of that like stuff with his mother in like the 4th or 5th movie, and the dream baby stuff. Yeah,
he just hates her. He's not scared of her. He by the end of Dream Child, he claws his way out of her and just kills her.
He was still beaten in those movies. Like
he's beaten, but it's not like terrified, like whimpering.
Well, so is Pennywise, right? That's
Pennywise
the thing.
So
they both always lose.
That's the thing about Pennywise is when Pennywise was finally faced with the Losers Club, he's never been threatened his entire life. The second those kids stood a chance and hurt him, it was whimpering. It was like crawling away, like please don't do it. And it's like the first challenge in his life, and it's terrified. So Freddy just having powers and being stronger than a kid is going to make Pennywise a whimpering mess.
It sounds like we're going to have a similar situation with both of them, that they are used to dealing with people who are kind of improvising it as they go. And while that may be the case generally here, regardless, they are going to be dealing with entities that have powers way beyond simply improvising the traditional ways to deal with them. Let's get into that. I do want to talk a little bit about the more esoteric like levels of these creatures, essentially. But before we get to that, Chad, I believe we have an ad.
Yeah, I had so many good segues, and then people kept talking. That's fine. So we can talk about your powers in the bedroom. Hey, because today's episode is sponsored by Hims. This is for the guys listening in right now or watching. This episode is sponsored by Hims, and if you're having some problems staying confident when you're in the mood, they've got personalized ED treatment that you need without ever stepping foot outside your door. Hims is changing men's healthcare by providing you access to affordable sexual health treatments from the comforts of your couch. This includes access to a wide range of doctor-trusted ED treatments like chewable hard mints, Viagra and Cialis, and their generics for up to 95% cheaper. It's all done online, so no awkward doctor visits, but you don't have to do the guesswork either. Just answer some questions on the website, and a medical provider will help determine the right option for treatment. There's no insurance needed, and one low price covers everything from treatment to ongoing care. With hundreds of trusted subscribers, Hims can help you find the ED option that works for you. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/cast. That's HIMS.com/cast for your personalized ED treatment options. Again, hims.com/cast. Products mentioned are chewable compound products, which are not approved or verified for safety or effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subsequent subscription required. Prices varies based on product and subscription plan. Hims has sponsored the show for a really long time, and now that we're independent, they're back too. So thank you, Hims.
Yeah, I see people in chat say Hims is back. Yeah, we appreciate some of the sponsors from the old days coming back to support us as we move into the independent era, which is awesome. You know, thanks to obviously you guys backing us on the Kickstarter. We wouldn't be able to get sponsors like this coming back to help us without you guys proving that this is a channel and a show worth continuing. So thank you all. All right.
Crossover says Freddy can't have the Necronomicon and his dream powers at the same time. I don't know if that's an opinion or if it's in fact.
I brought that up earlier.
Okay, yeah, got it. Because he jumps into the real world. Got it. But he still has powers in the real world, right? Like,
yeah. Even if at the Necronomicon, he has a few powers. Like he can make flames, he can still teleport, and he's very durable in his fight with Jason. But it's still a much weaker Freddy than I would want. Yeah. So we would just do the Necronomicon or have it take place in the dream world. Which
well, it sounds like Liam's all on board for this. Yeah, they're gonna fight in the dream. That's all good.
So
27 years power nap.
Getting into that kind of area of this fight, the esoteric weirdness elements of these characters. What is Freddy? Like
Freddy?
Yeah, let's start with Freddy.
He is a dream demon. He was given the power. At first, he was just a man, a normal man who was killing kids and was just wreaking havoc. Just a normal man.
He was just a normal man who was killing kids, as we all
9
do.
to 5 and killing kids.
Jesus.
And then eventually, the people of Springwood ganged up on him and murdered him and killed him with fire. But as he was dying, the dream demons are like, "Hey, you're a pretty fucked up guy. how about we give you all these powers and you can get your revenge? So he becomes a dream demon and is given power over the entire dream world. And that's very important because the dream world is it's much larger than you would think. It is basically it's a parallel world to our own. It's like whenever you go to sleep, this is hard to explain because in the novels, but your soul goes out, it wanders out, it goes to 2 gates, and there's a dream gate and a nightmare gate. And once you go into the nightmare gate,
Dream gate.
Yeah, I know, right?
Freddy's land, which is it's got the same planet, stars, and galaxies as our world. And we see that Freddy, in the dream world, he can stretch the dreams out to infinity. He creates a road, an endless road that stretches forever in all directions. And he's able to just create those and make it stretch like that himself. And not just that, not only can dreams be infinite in size, Freddy can take multiple dreams of people and merge them all into one huge dream. So he's an incredibly powerful force of nature. And like, I remember at one point, he laughs so hard, it echoes for the dreams of everybody sleeping on the planet at that time. Everyone who's asleep hears his laughing, his echoing laughter. And that's incredibly powerful. So he's a very incredibly powerful entity in the dream world.
Enemy Crumble says Max sounds like Freddy's lawyer sometimes.
Freddy's got the power.
Yeah. Okay. So what about it? What the hell is it?
It is a higher dimensional being from the macroverse, like beyond space and time. What we would in versus debating nerddom would call outerversal. He is like a conceptual being, and the it that we interact with is an avatar. And it's true that avatar can be hurt and can be even killed. And if that avatar is killed, then the actual macroverse version of him is also killed, which makes him uniquely vulnerable, and it's how he's defeated in the story. But what's important is that the fight is not going to be limited to the physical avatar of it, specifically because Freddy attacks him in the dream world. And even if he didn't, he can just show the deadlights. The deadlights are 3 lights that are like the manifestation of his true form. When you're looking at the deadlights, you see his true form. And not only that, you are taken to the macroverse. This actually like happens to one of the characters. You are taken to the macroverse where you confront the actual it. And at that point, Freddy is as powerful as Freddy is. It is nothing compared to Pennywise. Like layers of infinity. Stephen King does have his own like nerdy fucking Grant Morrison cosmology map. There's a giant space turtle.
Okay, I saw a lot of people talking about the turtle.
Yeah, Maturin. Yeah.
Maturin is the giant space turtle, and what is really important about this is that I agree that if the fight was just limited to like the avatar of it versus Freddy, that Freddy would win because the avatar is vulnerable and Freddy is less vulnerable. But it won't be. The question is whether or not Pennywise would use this on Freddy before Freddy killed the avatar. Pennywise can read minds. He'd be able to understand Freddy's whole deal. He is a conceptual deity that is way beyond anything that is or can do. He'd be able to understand everything about Freddy instantly. And 2, the deadlights are pretty fast. And Pennywise is pretty fast. Pennywise came to Earth in the form of a meteor, but he came from the macroverse. The macroverse is beyond time and space and whatever. And I was interested, like, okay, how fast did he get there? I looked up a calc for it, and it said that he came from outside the universe, and the calc used like the distance of the universe to Earth. And I went, and it was like 50,000 times the speed of light, and I was like, okay, we don't know like if he like physically traveled from the edge of the universe to Earth. That's not like 100% confirmed. Mm-hmm. Until he did it to Richie. And Richie, when he looked into the deadlights, did fucking travel physically through space. So fast, he passed Maturin. He went, that's a big ass fucking turtle. And he did so.
Turtle.
And he passed Maturin so fast. He passed him in the blink of an eye. Literally, he blinked and he'd already like gone past him. And Maturin, I think, was dead at this point, or some like he was like I think he's described as like a husk. So how fast is that? Because it's a lot.
Are you busting
faster.
out a calc?
Yeah, I'm busting out a fucking calc.
Also, wouldn't that just like liquefy the kid if he was moving that fast?
It's his soul. It's his soul.
It's his soul.
Oh,
it's his
got
soul.
it. Okay.
But I'm using this to scale like to Pennywise because it's like, okay, if his soul is actually traveling this distance, he isn't just like being teleported to the macroverse or something. Then we know that's how Pennywise got to Earth as well. We know Pennywise would be able to replicate that because the deadlights are his essence. Maturin is bigger than the universe. He holds up like, I don't want to say all of existence because I don't know how big I don't have the cosmology map in front of me, but like larger than the universe. And he's able to pass him within the blink of an eye. That would be, hang on, let's see. What did I write down here? Oh, right. Yeah, Richie's journey, not even including that, because it was done in only a couple of moments, just to travel to the edge of the universe in like a couple of like seconds, was 145 quadrillion times the speed of light. If he passed Maturin in a single eye blink, using the speed at which you blink your eye to pass a being that large, that would be 84 sextillion times the speed of light.
I don't know. Doug in chat says it's probably 5 miles per hour, give or take a few. So.
It's 5 miles per hour, but like very 5 miles per hour. It's like it's an incredibly 5 miles per hour.
Here's an interesting phrase. Can we count soul travel as physical movement speed, or is like you're just using that because of comparison because of the meteor?
We do see him like physically moving, like he is described as like moving. He isn't just, it isn't some like esoteric thing. He does pass Maturin. He is like moving. And Pennywise is essentially like an astral being who makes that same journey. This is just used as A, scaling, and B, evidence. The versus battle's looking, because it's versus stuff is like makes the argument like, which I guess is technically true, that it like that's a reaction speed feat for Richie, which would then scale to
Pennywise scaled to Richie.
Yeah, Pennywise scales to Richie.
Oh, thank God. He scaled to Richie.
No.
He scales to Richie.
No.
That's it. Thank you. Keep talking and Gelatin for gifting out some memberships.
I wouldn't lean on that. I maybe you could because it is his soul and like souls perhaps can perceive whatever. I would just say that it's Richie's version of what we know that Pennywise did, which was travel from the macroverse to Earth. So if he made the journey that way, he's making the journey that way. Rather than scaling to Richie's reaction speed. 84 sextillion times the speed of light. He's like blitzing. He like Richie can't fight Goku, but he's like dodging. He's like dodging Ultra Instinct.
Okay, so I mean, yeah.
God.
I wanna address a couple things to that. So for Freddy's own speed, as I said before, his laugh echoed throughout multiple infinitely sized locations, which is already.
How fast is his laugh? Are we about to count the laugh?
all that way.
No. Yeah, I don't. Again, well, you go on. I want to.
No, okay, well, yeah. So there's also another dreamer who, as it quotes here, they were able to reach a doorway that was farther away than the outermost star in the galactic perimeter, whatever the fuck that means in the novel, which is also incredibly fast. But like, I would say,
say that one more time. Say that one more time.
It reached a doorway that was farther away than the outermost star in the galactic perimeter. I don't know what that means. I have no idea what that
what's
means.
reaching. What's
so not
reaching?
but that's not not
a
universe, but the
dreamer.
furthest star away in a galaxy, basically.
Yeah, that's the next galaxy over, essentially, right?
And it's a dreamer who's doing this, who Freddy can compare to, and they're just doing it in like a short amount of time.
Oh, but the dreamer is a small child, so it wouldn't scale because he's scaling.
Richie. Dreamer versus Richie. Let's go.
But also, yeah, just like the echoing throughout infinity is pretty fast shit, like for this echoing. And also, Pennywise, when you're traveling to the Macroverse, both Bill and Richie have plenty of time to prepare. Like they're about a conversation with Maturin, like in the initial instance where it happens, before Maturin's dead. When they're kids, after traveling, they have plenty of time to discuss with Maturin about what's going on. In that time, Freddy would easily be able to just create a dimensional portal right back to the dream world and take the fight right back. Pennywise doesn't automatically take him to the Macroverse. And even if he did, it's not going to kill Freddy. Like, Freddy can be completely atomized and his soul can be completely destroyed. It still can't kill Freddy. And even if it tries to make him go insane, first of all, Freddy is already insane, which is like, he's just going to go rampaging. But also, Freddy has seen dreams before that have caused normal people to go completely insane. And that's the thing about Pennywise, is that witnessing his true form does drive people to insanity, but only like people that haven't like haven't accepted the unreality of everything. And Freddy is surrounded in a world of unreality. Everything's topsy-turvy, everything's crazy. He could comprehend this shit. He wouldn't go completely insane looking to deadlights.
Okay.
I don't think he needs to drive him insane. I would question that because of how much bigger and more incomprehensible Pennywise is, but I agree. Like, I don't think the point of it is that he would drive Freddy insane. It's that he would fucking eat his soul. Okay, he can't destroy it. He devours it. He makes it a part of him.
You know who else made Freddy's soul a part of them? Amanda Kruger. She absorbs Freddy's soul under, and he just claws his way right out.
And how
Amanda
fast is
Kruger
she?
is not fucking Pennywise. Amanda Kruger is not Pennywise. Amanda Kruger is not a being that is outerversal, right? Like, it's a matter of power. I think that
Freddy can also eat souls himself. He could eat all the souls within the Macroverse and become even more powerful.
Not if he's eaten. Not if his soul has been devoured by fucking.
I want to address something that's been brought up a few times. This Macroverse element. Dream world versus Macroverse. What is the difference in this context here, and is it going to matter all that much?
I don't think like if you're saying like the true form, like Macroverse Pennywise being involved in the dream world, it still has to send Freddy to the Macroverse. It cannot manifest in the dream world because it's far closer tied to our reality. It is more comparable to our reality than the Macroverse is comparable to the dream world. So it's
the deadlights aren't necessarily going to manifest the true form or whatever in the dream world per se.
Pennywise would need to catch Freddy, and that's assuming he even gets the right Freddy, because he can clone himself hundreds of times over. He might just get a Freddy clone while the real Freddy's beat the shit out of the spider. Okay,
and then the Macroverse is. Give me a broad definition of what the Macroverse is in this, like for Pennywise, Liam.
It is a higher dimensional space beyond like space and time, beyond infinite timelines. I'm like looking at the map here. It's sort of like, I don't know if it's the exact highest, but it is one of the highest levels of like existence. It's beyond like conception. It's a outerversal kind of space as well.
And while he can pull things into the Macroverse, and that allows him to essentially access his full range of powers, because that's where he lives, right? Essentially,
that's where his existence is. Yeah.
Is there a way to escape it?
Yes, by mentally biting its tongue. Richie and Bill were able to force it to shoot them back because it was causing it so much anguish by biting its tongue, and it was as the weirdest shit that you have to bite his tongue. And also, like, having, like, saying a mantra that's true to yourself, like, it thrusts its fist against the post and still insists it sees the ghost, which is a mantra that Bill said, like, just repeated to himself. That was also able to, like, make Pennywise freak out, like, no, go back. And he just sends you back because he's so terrified. Like, it is a coward. We cannot let that just go by. It gets so scared by the littlest things. It's never been
when it's finally confronted, right?
When it's confronted by anything. Like, any challenge, it's terrified. Freddy is not going to back down as easily as Pennywise. Pennywise, if anything, if it read Freddy's mind and saw how powerful it was, it would fuck off. I don't want any of it. It would leave.
I mean, and Freddy is definitely one for confrontation. He likes to talk a lot of shit. So
he could Pennywise. Now this is not what happens in the novel, but it's just something that people are gonna mention. And in chapter 2, it gets bullied into a melty little clown Pennywise, and Freddy's absolutely willing to just dish insults just to make it melt into a little baby.
Cedric Thoughts isn't it supposed to be from the Todash Darkness? I believe that's the same thing as the metaverse. Yeah. I think it's just a name for it.
Sure.
Basically.
Is it? Is it not?
No, pretty much.
I'm looking at the explanation of the cosmology map, and I do see a thing that says Todash space. So I'm going to go with probably something like that.
Okay.
Are you saying you didn't read it all yourself?
All these Stephen King books. All right. Well, while we think about where we're at, because I think there's more questions to answer here. I really want to get into how the dream world might actually affect Pennywise, and then we'll get to the vote. But before we get to that, I do want to talk about our other sponsor for this week's episode of Death Metal Cast. It's Marvel, baby. Well, Marvel Snap, which is freaking amazing, frankly. Marvel Snap is an award-winning collectible card game that combines deep strategy, fast-paced card dueling, and your favorite Marvel characters. Let's bring the camera to me, please. And thousands of unique card art variants created by renowned artists. Marvel Snap has partnered with over 300 incredible artists to create all new unique card art for the game. That's over 2,000 unique card art variants to collect. As for the gameplay, it's a card game that has a lot of depth to it. And I was actually kind of worried going into it that it would take me a lot of time, like learning the different cards and the rules before I could actually get into the game. But it's actually like really intuitive and easy to get into right away. And also the cards are freaking like amazing. It's got some like 3D art and whatnot. It's really cool. I'll bring it up on my phone in just a bit. And I'm legitimately impressed by how deep the game design is. And also the music, it's totally stuck in my head now. That may or may not be a good thing for you, depending on who you are, but it's really good. So let me bring up some of these cards because they look freaking cool. Look at this Hulk. Look at this Hulk. I don't know if you can necessarily see it, but it's got like a 3D effect going on. It's freaking cool. And Marvel Snap just celebrated their 2nd anniversary, so they're throwing a big thank you party for everyone who plays, starting on October 18th and going for 7 days straight. There's a bunch of new content that will be up for grabs every day. All you got to do is log in and get it for yourself. And on day 1, they're sending 65 random boosters. 65. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. This is maybe my favorite card. It's the Gamora art. It looks freaking cool. Oh man, we'll have to like show it in a way that's a little easier to see, but there's some really good art. So download the Marvel Snap app, now available on the App Store, Google Play, and Steam, or visit marvelsnap.com to learn more. I hadn't played it before, and I legitimately like trying it out when they reached out. Like, I'm kind of addicted. It's actually really good. So go ahead and check out Marvel Snap. It's really fun. All right.
Y'all. Oh, we're not moving on from that just yet. Marvel sponsored us. Like, it is. How long have we been doing this show? I have been begging for more comment sponsors, and Marvel stepped up to support independent Death Battle. And did you notice there wasn't even a go to cast or whatever? Like, they aren't even they just straight up supported us because they knew that y'all would be into this. So if you don't have Marvel Snap, go download it right now. Every single one of you, go download Marvel Snap. I am going to. Do you know how stoked I am about this sponsor? Because they sponsored more than just this cast, and you'll see. So go.
All right. Oh my gosh! Now that our ears are thoroughly blown out,
I pulled the mic back. Sorry.
Let's talk about the dream world, because I want to know the extent that the dream world is going to come into play here. Like, early on, Liam, you hinted that it's actually going to be a problem for Freddy if this takes place in the dream world. Why?
Yeah, we've kind of already talked about that. If you attack it psychically, you are directly interacting with the Deadlights, and you're essentially being like, "Ooh, I'm gonna jump into the Macroverse, yay!" So the problem with that is just that it would the process of defeating Freddy would happen soon. Freddy would be committing psychic suicide if he did that. Pennywise would still be able to do that in like the real world because you just have to show him the deadlights instead of it being like Freddy inviting himself into the deadlights.
Yeah.
And because Freddy isn't aware of that dynamic, it wouldn't. He would be more likely to actually do that rather than like be wary of it. Where Pennywise would be able to know what Freddy's deal was and be able to work around that.
Connor, are we strictly talking movie version or lore version? Didn't watch. I was helping with homework or housework. We are talking about the whole thing. Apparently, they both have lots of books.
Yes, they both have a lot of books.
So, with all that in mind, all that that Liam just said, Max, is that going to be like it for Freddy? No. Just like as soon as he's in the dream world, there's nothing for him to do.
No. So reading Pennywise's mind, it's an option for Freddy. It doesn't automatically happen when you're in a dream. We saw in Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash, he had to literally pick apart Jason's brain to to get the memories he wanted. So he can always just like confront Pennywise and go, "I'll just kill it. I'll kill it first, and if I'm having trouble, I can read its fear." And it would just kill Pennywise immediately because Pennywise would be terrified. But even if it did read Pennywise's mind and get sent burst to the Macroverse, that is still a lengthy process. He can always teleport right back to the dream world and go, "Oh fuck, not doing that again," and just not go to the Macroverse and not get caught. And he can always just clones of Freddy will still be there if one Freddy's sent to the Macroverse. So Freddy's always going to be able to just take out Pennywise, even if one of them is in the Macroverse.
Tony Sonic says, one important thing to remember is that it is always defeated through belief. When the kids believe they can kill it, they pull through. Freddy believes he can kill anybody or everybody.
He's so confident. His overconfidence is going to be a helpful tool for him here.
Thank you, Kindrex. Yeah,
I mean, that's just for the physical manifestation, though, right? Does that matter against the deadlights?
That's just a general Pennywise weakness. I don't know if it's like, it would presumably be the same for like just it in general. I don't think the deadlights are specially immune to it.
No, I don't think that. I think that if he was facing his like full physical form, there'd be like, it's like, yeah, that ant is not afraid of me. All right, that's good for him, I guess. I think like also a big part of like why Pennywise was so cowardly in the face of the children rising up against him was because it was children rising up against him. It is like a billions of years old like deity. He isn't gonna be surprised by a being like Freddy Krueger. He isn't going to be like discouraged by somebody like Freddy Krueger. The reason he had that reaction is because this was a community that of ants that he had been torturing for generations that finally rose up against him and denied him the fear that he needed to like feed on them. And that surprised him. And that did scare him because it was kids doing it. Freddy not being afraid of him would not like turn him off. It would go like, he would go, "Oh, I need to take this seriously. And I know how this guy works. So I can utilize the leverage of me being a significantly more powerful being against Freddy." Whereas Freddy is insane and his overconfidence comes from the fact that he is like, his brain is incapable of anything else. Yeah. I think it would still be a hindrance for Freddy, and I don't think it would be the weakness that for it. It's just that like, yeah, if you show it losing to fucking kids, he looks like a bitch. But like Freddy lost to kids too, so it's and a really big important point that we haven't talked about actually. Between the two of them, Pennywise won his epic rap battles of history. Pennywise demolished the Joker. And Freddy got fucking steamrolled.
Did he demolish the Joker?
Dude. The Joker's fucking punchlines were so fucking lame. Pennywise demolished him, and then Freddy, like the instant that the instant that he went, oh god, the instant that when Wolverine went, "You're a pedophile from the Midwest. At least R. Kelly could sing." Freddy was done. Like Freddy was fucking.
I'm not gonna go and argue that Freddy won against Wolverine in that rap battle. If this became a rap battle, he might not be able to pull it off. It's not a rap battle.
That's fair. Although you got to consider every element here. You know, it could come into play.
What
You
I
never
feel
know.
like if the Elm Street movies kept going on, we would have eventually got a rapper Freddy. I feel like eventually
yeah.
he would
I'm
have done
surprised
it.
he didn't. Yeah, like a beatboxing, rapping Freddy. Yeah.
There's got to be like a comic or something with
Somewhere,
that, right?
That kind of happens.
Something that's been buried.
Like, please don't ever
13th.
show this again.
Yeah.
So I saw this mentioned in the chat earlier from Kino. We haven't really talked about specifically how they would put each other down. We've talked a lot about like how they would resist and survive each other, but like what are they going to do to actually kill each other?
It's very simple in my case. The physical form, crush its heart. That will actually kill the Macroverse Pennywise for good, and that's it. Just crush the heart, end of story.
Take him in the Macroverse, devour his soul.
Even when he's
Freddy
devoured,
potentially.
right.
He's not fucking all. He's not his mom. It is not fucking Amanda Kruger. It is.
When his soul is absorbed into another being, he's still conscious.
Well, hang on. Let's let Liam talk for a bit.
Okay,
it doesn't matter. He is food for it. Like I also don't think that like he'd be able to keep like his soul manifested against somebody so much more powerful than anybody that Freddy has ever encountered. And furthermore, I wanted to address the idea of him like portaling away. He could potentially do that. Unfortunately, it also has the ability to like manipulate space and manipulate reality in all the ways that he's a shitload faster. I didn't bring up that 84 sextillion times the speed of light child dodging Goku feet for nothing.
The Richie scaling, yeah.
Anything that Freddy would try to do, he'd be able to block him. I know it sounds fucking ridiculous, but because that feat applied to those children's astral forms, you can't just say like, well, a kid blocked it, so it wouldn't be a problem. Regardless, Pennywise would be a lot faster and be able to prevent Freddy from doing anything that I guess he tried to do to escape.
My question there is like, isn't in the dream world, couldn't Freddy be as fast as he wanted to be? Like if he's creating an infinite road or like, you know, all this stuff, like couldn't like I just feel like there's no limits on Freddy in the dream world, right? Because he has control over all of reality inside of it.
Yeah, there are no limits. He said
because like he changes like doesn't he change like the kids into stuff at times and like so like
meatballs.
Right. So it's like it's
soul food, my favorite.
Right. So can you just be like, all right, Pennywise, you're a slow meatball, like you know what I mean, or like I don't.
He could affect stats. Like he made himself physically stronger and faster as Super Freddy. He can amplify.
He might be able to amplify his stats, but he'd need to be fast enough to do that. Like we're talking about like Pennywise's like insta kill move here. He might be able to, but Pennywise would be done with him before that would even need to take place.
Freddy's powers can stretch something into infinity. That's like he just does it with his powers. He can make things grow infinitely large and just instantaneously. That's an incredible feat of speed.
I guess what I'm trying to get around is like the thing too is like I don't think either of these characters would just blitz, right? Because like their whole MO is like they want to like torture people and like Pennywise wants to feed on the fear of the kids, right? Or like so like, but I guess there'd at least need to be enough time where they would read each other's thoughts, right? And then it would be like, oh, I've read your fear. Oh, I've read your thoughts. And then they both know. So then I guess maybe, I don't know.
Freddy would not be able to read his fear. Pennywise's mind is protected by the fact that he is like a larger god. His mind and his soul are connected to this concept in the Stephen King verse called Ka. And Pennywise or Freddy would not be able to read Pennywise's mind. And then like, you know, learn about his existence and learn about like Pennywise's weaknesses. Pennywise would be able to do the same thing to Freddy, which is why he has an advantage even in the dream world. Which is why I think he would try the blitz essentially, because he knows that he's not dealing with just a random like child anymore. If we acknowledge that he is like capable of being scared by somebody that can destroy his avatar, then we also have to acknowledge that he's like not an idiot. He's a fucking billion-year-old god and would act accordingly.
Well, what I've seen about Pennywise is whenever it sees a threat, it tries to make the threat go away. He tried to warn the Losers Club, hey, you'll die if you try to fight me. So please, God, don't fight me. Please, God, go away. Like it's more like ideal for it to retreat instead of attack something that powerful, just off the off chance that it can die. So it would be more cowardly and less aggressive than Freddy in this scenario.
Retreat into the meta world, or just retreat in general?
Just run away. It can't. Its physical form can't just go. It's in reality.
Okay, so if it is indeed this much of a coward, perhaps Freddy will get the upper hand early on, but it has so much experience, I guess. Its lifespan has been so much farther that, like, theoretically it would have some sort of knowledge of how to deal with this, but maybe not. I also wanted to point out in chat, Mr. Shava 54, who also just joined as a champion. Welcome. Mr. Shava mentions wrong. Freddy did have a rapping career. There's an episode of an old forgotten show called Freddy's Nightmares where he becomes Mix Master Freddy.
Oh no, not Mix Master Freddy.
So, maybe Mix Master Freddy didn't show up for the rap battle, but like,
if he showed up,
maybe he should have.
Done. It's over when he shows up.
All right, so let's get our final thoughts here, and then we will get to the vote. So we start with Liam. Max, let's start with you. Last statement for Freddy. Why does Freddy take this? Anything you haven't talked about?
I believe Freddy is infinitely fast, able to create things that are infinitely sized in a mere instant. He can dodge anything Pennywise does. He's not getting trapped in the Macroverse at any point. And all it takes is, even if he doesn't know explicitly to destroy Pennywise's heart, he'll just destroy all of Pennywise regardless, and just inadvertently get the heart his weakness. Freddy will claw him to pieces, turn him to a meatball, and eat him. He'll do anything. He'll do anything he wants to claw and destroy the physical form. And the true form has no reliable way to come in and end Freddy. So I don't think there's anything he can
I love that we didn't even talk about the claw this whole time. It's like
it's the whole thing.
He's gonna stab the heart and eat it. He's gonna rip out the heart.
It is a tool for stabbing a heart. That works. That works. All right. How about Pennywise, Liam? Give us the final rundown.
Snapping your fingers and making a space infinite because you can warp reality isn't a fucking. It's just a feat of his powers. Pennywise is significantly faster than Freddy. He can read Freddy's mind. Freddy is not capable of reading his mind. That gives him a huge advantage against dealing with him. His avatar is vulnerable, but thankfully, with those advantages, he can counter that, know what he has to do immediately, bring him into the Macroverse, and then devour his soul. Freddy is not at all capable of handling something like that. He is just simply not powerful enough to deal with Pennywise's full power, and would not be able to kill Pennywise's avatar before Pennywise took him into a place where he could be killed himself because of his overconfidence.
All right. The poll is up, chat. Go ahead and get your votes in. While that's happening, Chad, with a D, what are you thinking?
Oh, man. I think both of y'all did a really great job, but I'm leaning Freddy for sure. I don't know. I just think the dream powers, the confrontation aspect, we know it doesn't like to be confronted. I appreciated the speed argument and the Richie scaling, which is still hilarious. But yeah, I don't know. I think Freddy's got it.
I'm kind of the same mindset. There's I definitely would want to look into this Richie scaling speed feed a little bit more.
To clarify, I am not scaling him to Richie.
I know. I'm joking about it.
Yeah.
Okay. But the basic concept of it seems like it's not. I don't know if it necessarily applies to what we're doing here. Then again, if they get into the Macroverse, then it makes more sense to me that it would apply. But where this takes place is I think what's throwing me off at the moment. I'm not entirely sure whether to apply like Freddy's dream powers as stronger than the Macroverse powers, or vice versa, or the location and how it affects this fight, because it feels like whichever one can keep the other one where they want it is going to be the kind of a deciding factor here. So I'm kind of leaning towards Freddy at the moment, just based on how the dream world works. But I don't know. It depends on how easily it is to get him out of the dream world. And I guess I'm torn. I think I'm leaning towards Freddy, but I could be swayed. So that's where I'm at the moment. I don't have a definitive answer, unfortunately. But this is fascinating, and I think there's a really good exploration that could be done in like a full Death Battle episode with this. I'm actually like way more on board with this matchup now than I thought I would be. I didn't know about like I'm somewhat familiar with Stephen King's like crazy book universe and whatnot, but like
the Dark Tower.
It gets this is apparently it's way more than I thought. Yeah. Brandon Sanderson, eat your heart out, Chad. Like, let's go to the Dark Tower. Hey. He's the Cosmere when we got this stuff.
There you go. Cosmere versus the Dark Tower universe.
Okay, so but I think it'd be fascinating to explore in an episode, but let's check out what you guys had to say as the poll. It's pretty definitive.
Oh?
Pennywise wins.
We'll go ahead and wrap it up. I'm ending the poll. You guys voted. And with over 500 votes, and only just a couple minutes because that was a quick vote, we've got Freddy Krueger with 62% of the votes.
Yeah,
Freddy wins the Death Broadcast. Wait, did you win last week, Max?
I don't know. You lost.
I lost. Okay. So I've redeemed myself.
and you got to win over Liam, which is a very hard thing to do. Those are the sweetest victories.
Came through for me.
The
Liam's win streak. All right. Hey, thanks guys for repping these characters. You did a fantastic job. Shout out to Liam and Max here. Thank you everybody for tuning in to our live show. Again, we do this live now on Tuesdays from noon Central Time. So thank you for tuning in. We will see you all next week. Take care.
See ya.
Bye, Joe. Thank you. Bye.